Section Lassie, Mr. All Even in NYC. He's so big. They call him boss. He's a boss. All even. He's so bad.
All Even Podcast. We in the building.
Sun woke me up.
You can catch me on Instagram at All Even Podcast. You can catch me on TikTok at All Even Media. Facebook, Barry Graham Jr.
World looking all right.
For the audio, you can listen to me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, HArden. I'm all over the place. Go to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, like, share, and comment. Tell a friend to tell a friend because the page is growing. Over 25,000. And I'm not for the bull tonight. I come to play. I come to say some stuff. We got a lot to discuss. Lakers. What's going on with the Buss family? They're in disarray again. Mark Walters a crook. You got James Harden getting his new deal. Cavs made a trade for Peyton Watson. Gonna talk a little Mets. Gonna talk Aaron Glenn. Irrelevant news of the week. And the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week. But we chilling, man. There's a lot to talk about. We got this week's PSA as well. That's going to be a doozy. Still haven't watched Spider-Man yet, but I got to get to it. I know, listen, I'm not with all the spoilers. I'm trying to avoid it. I don't talk to friends. I don't talk to nobody. I need to see it for myself. So we'll see what happens. Let's just get into it, man. Let's just get into it in regards to what is happening with these Lakers. So we all know that Mark Walters sold the team to Bob Iger and Josh Kushner. Valuation of $12.5 billion. And everybody's in shock. He only bought the team about officially, 9, 10, 11 months ago, something like that. And all of a sudden, team is now sold. We know why now, and we'll get into that a little later. But the Buss family, what we thought was they were getting out, Jeanie Buss, the Buss family was going to be no more with the Lakers. And then all of a sudden, we got the report that, hold a second. Jeanie Buss ain't happy about this. She doesn't want to sell the Lakers. She still wants to maintain her ownership stakes, and she wants to maintain being the governor of the team. That's what the agreement was between her and Mark Walter. I don't know what her agreement is in regards to with Bob Iger and Josh Kushner. Don't know. But she wants to remain the owner or the governor, excuse me. So the way it is that I think 5 siblings agreed to sell off their shares. Sell off their remaining 17.8% shares that they still have with the team. Jeanie Buss does not want to sell her shares. So I think if Laker fans remember that Jim Buss was trying to have this coup way back in 07 or something like that, and she went ahead and got a court order, got this stuff situated, and in 2017, I believe, there was a court order that stated that the family is supposed to make sure that all reasonable efforts to keep Jeanie Buss as controlling owner and that a sale cannot be approved without her, according to what her lawyers are saying. So they're saying that without Jeanie Buss approving this, there will be no sale. So I want to see how this plays out because obviously we're going to be in court and we're going to see how this plays out. Now there's another report out there that's saying that Jeanie Buss is considering paying out her siblings to be able to maintain her ownership with the Lakers and maintain her governorship with the team. So at 17.8%, that kind of I think it's $2.2 billion, maybe $2.2 billion. So Jeanie Buss got about like $500 million from the sale. According to earnings, she's worth like about $1 billion. So for her to be able to, get the capital, be able to pay off her siblings, if that's even a possibility, she has to find some way to be able to, make that money, right? Whether she's going to borrow money or sell off some other shares that she has in other companies, whatever it is, there's a path here for her. So it says right here, her net worth is also tied in with Sincoro Tequila, also owned by Jordan, women's wrestling promotion, Women of Wrestling, to explore raising capital for this minority stake, and she can find to remain capital. So she might have to find private investors, financial investors, and stuff like that. So there's a possibility that she can buy out her siblings. The siblings want out. They've wanted out for a long time. And this shit is messy. It's been messy in regards to these Buss children. They've been bickering. They've been at each other's throats. Jeanie Buss has literally just like ran roughshod in regards to how she wants to do business. And as a Laker fan, all we can do is sit back and just kind of, I don't know, not feel sorry, but it's just like you're kind of embarrassed for them, right? You're kind of embarrassed for them because Jerry Buss was the Lakers. Jerry Buss was Showtime. Jerry Buss knew how to be able to get these people in the seats. He knew who to hire. He knew when to, remain at in-house or when to go outside. He knew how to be able to run this thing efficiently. Obviously, there were, growing pains, but once he figured it out, man, it was a well-oiled machine. Jeanie Buss never got that type of touch. She never was able to manipulate and kind of put her stamp on this franchise. Let's just be honest. Since she's owned the team, the Lakers have not been good. Like, it's been a disaster. You got one championship. You got a couple of playoff berths. You had LeBron James for 8 years. Now you got Luka. But what do you really have in that time that she's been the majority owner and then she was the governor? There's not much. We're always getting these like reports about the Buss family children. They're over here bickering. She went ahead and sold the team in the dead of the night to Mark Walter, that fucking crook. And then doing that, bought her stepbrothers out and then fired them. They didn't want to sell. And there was always been a little animosity there between her and the younger children, Joey and Jesse. So do I feel sorry for Jeanie Buss that her brothers and sisters like, yo, we trying to get out, bro? Nah, I don't, because she's backdoored her siblings for years. She has strong-armed them to make her the top of the food chain in regards to the ownership class with the siblings. She is the one at the top. They don't want no smoke. They're a part of the Buss family. They're a part of the lineage, the trust. So they don't necessarily, I believe, outside of Joey and Jesse and maybe Jim, they don't really care about owning the team. Jerry Buss is gone. That spark, that magic, is gone. And she's trying to hang on to the shit. Let it go. Let it go. You can be able to, have your other business ventures, your tequila, women of wrestling. There's so many other things that Jeanie Buss can be able to put her stamp on and make a great living that way. I believe I understand how personal it is. And who am I to tell you that you need to walk away from something that your father built? But man, does this look like desperation to be able to hold on to whatever legacy is left. Jeanie Buss doesn't have children. So I guess she feels that this is her birthright. But sometimes when you are so like engulfed in maintaining something that's your birthright, you tend to have this power grab, this like manipulative way of maintaining control. It's sad to watch. So we're going to see how this plays out. But as Laker fans, it's time to move on one way or another. Let's get a resolution, because at the end of the day, Luka has to go answer questions about this shit. Other players are going to have to answer questions about this shit. When we have a new roster, you know, training camp is about to start soon. You got the players out there. They're in Slovenia right now, in Luka's training camp right now. They're focused on what they got to focus on, but yet you still have to be focused on this as well. Whenever you come back to the States, people are going to have cameras in your face. They're going to have phones in your face asking you questions about how do you feel about what's going on in regards to the team, what's going on with Mark Walter, what's going on with Bob Iger and Josh Kushner. Is like you're talking about things that have nothing to do with the on-court aspect of the team. This is basketball. Yeah, Luka has had like 4 or 5 owners in the last few years. He's just trying to hoop. Whoever owns the team owns the team. That ain't got nothing to do with him. And as Laker fans, we're just done. Somebody needs to take this team. Somebody needs to take control of this team and just be a fucking adult. Don't screw it up. Don't make the brand worse. Don't make the prestige of the team drop. Maintain it. Build on it. Grow it. Bring it back to a place where it's undeniable, instead of it being a laughing stock and a punchline. I don't like it, bro. Like, honestly, I just don't like that we're here discussing more Buss family bullshit. It's clear that only one person wants to maintain power with the Lakers. It's very clear that only one person wants to hold on to this shit. So we'll see what happens, whether she ends up buying her siblings out or something else happens. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to see something happen and we can move the fuck on. Moving on. James Harden gets a new deal. The Cleveland Cavaliers. He is back with them and actually took a very, very reasonable deal as well. Took a 3-year deal worth $97 million. That's not a bad deal for James Harden. It's pretty much a little bit over $32 million a year. Took a significant pay cut from the $42+ million that he was making last year. So James Harden wants to finish his career in Cleveland. That's obvious. Them going ahead and now making a sign and trade move for Peyton Watson. The Cavs have a very, very good team, man. Can I put them up there with the Philadelphia 76ers and the Knicks and Boston and all these other teams? Yeah, they're in the mix. But it's an interesting dynamic to see how Peyton Watson is going to be able to mix in with this. We'll talk about him in a second, but for James Harden, he had a pretty decent stretch with the Cavs last year. He had a good stretch. Playoffs, different story with James Harden. You know what you're getting in regards to playoff James Harden. Regular season, James Harden's gonna look like a dynamo. Playoffs is completely different. I don't know how it turns on and off for him like that, or the referees are refereeing different. Like there seems to be a disconnect with him when it comes to crunch and clutch situations in the playoffs. But in regards to being a good player in the regular season, being able to distribute and get guys, shots and put them where they need to do, like he's been very good over the last few years of being able to take a step back offensively and give the team exactly what they need. He's still a good 23-9 guy. You know what I mean? 23-8. He can give you that on any given night without a problem. Will there be some drop off in his game over the next 3 years? I'm sure. But at 32 and a half, $33 million a year, it's not that bad of a risk that you can either move off of that contract if things don't go well, or James Harden is like 37 years old. I mean, is he going to play out the last remaining 3 years of this deal? Possibly, but he may not either. He may wake up after next season and say, I'm done. So you never know what can happen, but to be able to have a player of his caliber, locked in for a team that needs a guy like James Harden to be able to facilitate, not bad. Staying with the Cavs, you got Peyton Watson again. Like I said, you got the sign and trade with Denver. So the deal is Cleveland, Denver, Clippers have agreed to a trade, sending Peyton Watson to the Cavs, Max Strus to LA, an unprotected 31 Cavs first round pick, 32 Kings second round pick to the Nuggets. Watson is going to sign a 4-year, $88 million deal, plus a player option and a trade kicker. And then they also expanded the trade as well. So now Trey Mann is going to be a part of the deal and attach a 2027 second rounder that's going from the Clippers to the Wizards for Cam Whitmore. The Wizards are also selling Julian Reese to the Nuggets, who will waive Reese off his two-way deal. So they've expanded the deal. I don't know if Cam Whitmore is going to stay around with the Clippers. He should. We'll see what happens with that. So what is the deal with Peyton Watson? I know that Peyton Watson wanted more money, but the market just wasn't really there. There wasn't a lot of teams that were vying for his services. I know Denver had to make a move, had to make a decision on this because they were pushed up over the second apron. They're trying to get below that. They still have moves to make. And I think that they got their eyes locked on a DeMar DeRozan, who's like 37 years old. So Denver's taking a step back. Cleveland is not taking a step back. They're getting younger. They're getting a guy that can be able to play the wing. This is a guy that showed tremendous upside and tremendous potential the second half of last season, where he put up some really, really good numbers. That's how he got this $88 million. Because before that, he didn't show much, range or any dynamic portions of his game. There's potential there, but he actually started to play well. I think he averaged well over like 20 points for like a good stretch. So they are hoping that Peyton Watson can be able to be this guy going forward for them as a young piece on this Cleveland Cavaliers team. I think he's going to do fine. I want to see exactly how consistent he can be as a scorer. He does have two-way potential. So we'll see exactly what happens in regards to his development, how he fits in with the Cavs and how they utilize him, and if he can be able to be that, third guy to be able to really help them get over the hump. Moving on. I think the biggest conversation this week was Kawhi Leonard, obviously. Kawhi Leonard, Steve Ballmer, the Clippers, and the whole aspiration investigation and all this other stuff. And NBA said that they found no evidence that there was any sponsorship deals passed through to Kawhi Leonard. Pablo Torre has been on this case for a while now. I think he's done like 14 episodes, maybe less than that. So he's done a lot of episodes in regards to his investigative journalism. There's a lot of people coming at Pablo Torre now talking about he needs to apologize. Oh, they need to sue him, blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing about that. Why do you think Steve Ballmer hasn't sued Pablo Torre yet? The reason why you don't sue a guy like Pablo Torre is because you don't want to open up discovery. You don't want to go ahead and really peel open those books so that they can really be able to see what everything is and what all of Pablo Torre's findings are. Because at the end of the day, he's going to go ahead and reveal that to a court. And when the courts go ahead and reveal that, now they're going to start peeling that onion away. So I don't know what the hell Wachtell Lipton did and what Adam Silver did in regards to saying that they found nothing, but I find that pretty weird. And another thing that I find weird in regards to this whole thing is that when you read the actual report, it said that Adam Silver and the Clippers have been working on trying to get a deal or a resolution to this situation over the past X amount of days before the actual report came out, or the announcement, the statement. If you're under investigation and the commissioner is the guy that lays down the hammer or whatever punishment it is, explain to me how you're working on trying to get a resolution and a deal. What deal am I working out with you if I'm investigating you? What resolution am I trying to get when I'm trying to investigate to see what happened? Now, I know that there's some other stuff that they're continuing to investigate, but that don't seem sus to y'all? That don't seem funny? The fact that Kawhi Leonard never, ever thought that he was ever going to get in trouble the way he was moving? But again, ask yourself, for the people who are Pablo Torre detractors or anybody else out there that's been saying, yo, this is sus, this looks crazy, blah, 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 ask yourself, why hasn't he been sued for defamation? Why hasn't he been sued for this, and that? Because you can't sue somebody that found something to be true in regards to investigative journalism. Discovery is the word. And my biggest thing is that I always had a feeling that Adam Silver was never going to lay the hammer down on Steve Ballmer. Know why? Because Steve Ballmer is the fucking golden goose of the owners. You take down Steve Ballmer, then where does that leave everybody else? The richest owner in North American sports, where does that leave everybody else? So there's a lot of power that you give a guy like Steve Ballmer to just do bullshit. So if you don't go ahead and find any wrongdoing, who's to say that you don't set the table to have other owners do bullshit? Now you're going to start seeing players taking less money, and everybody's going to be, oh, he took less money. So that means that he's probably getting money under the table. He probably got some no-show sponsorship deals that they don't have to report to. They don't have to go ahead and advertise. They ain't got to do nothing, but they cashing a bag. What are we doing? I don't care who does this. I understand that's the Clippers, and everybody knows how I feel about the Clippers, but I don't care who this is. If anybody's out there doing bad business, then you got to go ahead and expose that. And you got to make an example of dudes. Because if you go ahead and make an example, it becomes a deterrent. Yeah, I ain't trying to end up like Steve. So I'm gonna just chill. Yeah, that's fine, but nah, I'm gonna stay back. Because at the end of the day, I don't blame Kawhi and Uncle Dennis. We all know how wild Uncle Dennis has been. We all know that Kawhi pretends to just be, yeah, I don't really know what's going on. Yeah, you do. I don't blame them for asking for everything. Ask. That doesn't mean I have to give it to you. That doesn't mean that I have to adhere to whatever your demands are. Hell, the Lakers didn't do it. When they went to the Lakers talking about they wanted ownership, Jeanie Buss and Rob Pelinka, they went ahead and complained straight to the league office. Same thing with Masai Ujiri with the Raptors. But they found their dummy. They found their desperate owner that was desperate to be able to try to get one star to be able to open up his big arena with his 1,000 bathrooms. He needed that star. And boy, did he find it. But did he find the right one? He didn't. Because at the end of the day, Kawhi's in Toronto now. Who does Steve Ballmer have now? What star is there to be able to highlight for the fans of the LA Clippers? Who are they filling out the arena for? So again, I ask, if anybody thinks that this feels done or there is no wrongdoing here, I don't think that's true. I think that there's a lot of wrongdoing here. And just like Draymond said, like if nothing happens here, now we got to go ahead and go look at everything suspect. Now everything is sus. Now I'm looking at Adam Silver wrong. I'm looking at the owners wrong. I'm looking at the whole situation wrong because at the end of the day, this does not smell right. And at the end of the day, we know why what's his name? Don Sterling is no longer, owning the team because all the owners hated Don Sterling. And they had one opening to be able to get that team off of him and go give it to Steve. So you think that they want to go ahead and punish Steve to the point where he possibly might have to remove himself from owning the team? That probably was never going to be on the table. But in regards to avoiding certain contracts, having certain penalties, oh yeah, cool, yeah, we're going to go ahead and investigate him. So you're going to send the dude that works for the owners to investigate the owners. I've always said that you need to have like an independent internal affairs, not only for the players, but for the owners to be able to keep everything on the up and up. But the difference is, and the problem is with the NBA is that it's private. It's a private thing. So you don't have to have any type of guardrails put in like that, which I think is bullshit. So you want to go ahead and go find people, you want to go find players or investigate players for tampering and all this other shit. Like, who cares about tampering? Who cares about tampering when you're allowing owners to just do whatever the fuck they want to do because they got money? And you just turn a blind eye to it. Yeah, we're going to investigate them when you're not really doing much. Turning over the top half of the desk. You're just pulling off of the top sheets. You're not digging in the drawers. You're not going into the other files and stuff to be able to see exactly what connects with what. Surface level investigation. Because at the end of the day, who's going to challenge it? This is corny, man. Like, if they really didn't do anything wrong, cool. But man, I can't see how you can be able to have that much evidence, where somebody can be able to have that much evidence, whistleblowers, documents, all of these things, a paper trail, and you have nothing, no findings. Sure, Adam. Sure. If you think that we believe that shit, then you can be able to go sell water to whales. You can be able to go sell bridges. You can be able to go sell knives and cutlery. You go ahead and do all of that stuff, bro. If you think you can be able to pull the wool over motherfuckers' eyes and think that we don't really understand what the fuck is going on, you're not going to go ahead and punish daddy. We get it. But does that mean that the integrity of the league is not compromised? I think it is. I think the integrity, I think when you have an owner that has that much money and can be able to do what he wants, your integrity is shot. Because at the end of the day now, he has free reign to do whatever the fuck he wants. Because you gave it to him. So, moving on. Jonathan Kuminga, there was a couple of teams, and the Cavs were one of them in regards to a landing spot that he can be able to go to. Atlanta is out of the picture. They don't want him back. And I think now with this Peyton Watson deal, him going to Cleveland, I think I think it's down to like two teams now. It got to be down to the Lakers and the Wolves. And what makes more sense for a guy like Jonathan Kuminga? Well, the way his agent and the way his representation and his team are talking, they may want to take the short deal so they can be able to re-enter the market and go get themselves a bigger bag. But it's just like, we heard that last year, and you didn't do much to get that bag. Like, I like Jonathan Kuminga as a player, as a prospect, as somebody who has talent. But, there's times where dudes just think too highly of themselves. With the fact that they think so highly of themselves, they think that they are, like, their value around the league is higher when it's not. Everybody agrees, I think, that Steve Kerr did not utilize Jonathan Kuminga properly. That's obvious, right? He couldn't find a way to be able to use him in a way that was going to be efficient for not only Kuminga, but for the team. And everybody criticized Golden State for how they handled that whole situation. They shitting on the young guy. They got to give him a shot, man. Or, let him go. Why are you holding on to him? Because you're trying to get assets. But to be honest with you, you held on to the kid for so long, you depreciated the asset. Didn't play him. Couldn't fit your rotation. So if the guy can't fit Golden State's prestige in regards to their rotation, then what is his reputation around the league? What is his value around the league? There is none. So now he's going to have to go ahead and try to repair that. He goes to Atlanta and very, very okay tenure with Atlanta. It wasn't impressive. It wasn't impressive to Atlanta enough for them to be able to pick up the team option of $23 million. They were like, nah, we like him, but we don't like him for $23 million. So the Lakers are there. They have the ability to be able to give him a three-year deal. If it's a sign and trade, you have to give him a 3-year deal. You can give the first year, fully guaranteed. The second year doesn't have to be fully guaranteed, and also the third year doesn't have to be fully guaranteed. So you're literally giving him a 1-year deal with 2 shell years on the back end of it. They can do that. He can accept that, or he can go to the T-Wolves and take a year there, and then go back and re-enter the market. Should the Lakers take the risk? I don't even know now. Like, I understand that they're desperate for a wing, but do you want to be attached to a guy that has bounced around a little bit now in his career and also has this inflated perception of his game where if he's not getting the ball, he might disengage defensively? If he's not getting the touches or if he's not starting, he may disengage defensively. He may not be completely locked in, and this is a guy that has a low motor anyway. There's a lot of decisions here that Rob Pelinka has to make. And on top of that, too, then the Lakers have like $16+ players on roster right now, you're going to have to go ahead and make a trade, and you're going to have to shed a lot of contracts to be able to make this work. So are you willing to go ahead and give up your pick swap, give up, maybe a Vanderbilt, Dalton Connect, somebody else? Are you willing to give up those guys for Jonathan Kuminga? You have to be absolutely sure that he's the piece that you want to go ahead and build around. I wouldn't do it for a 1-year contract. I wouldn't take the risk for that. If you're going to lock him in for 3 years and a legit 3 years, maybe. But if it doesn't work out, you're locked in for 3 years. And now you have an asset that you can't trade because you've traded off all your assets. And if it doesn't work and he doesn't fit and he's not producing and he's not playing well and he has bad body language and he's not actually progressing as a player, then now you have a bad value contract on your books. There's a lot of risk here. That's all I'm saying. So for a Lakers fan, I don't necessarily believe or think that we should take the risk, but that's just me. You know what I'm saying? So moving on. Aaron Glenn had a very, very rough first year with the New York Jets. It wasn't just the fact that he was a rookie head coach. It was just about his demeanor. I remember I was an Aaron Rodgers apologist. I remember the whole issue with him and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers said that they only met for like a good minute or two. He was told abruptly that they didn't want him back. He flew all the way from California to New York for this meeting and just rubbed them the wrong way. And it's just like, you don't treat guys like that. Every time you see Aaron Glenn in the press conferences, there was always this standoffish, kind of confrontational, adversarial tone to him in every press conference. There's no need to be that way. The Jets are bad. You're not being a great head coach in regards to the decisions that you're making. It's warranted that they're asking you these questions to be able to see what's going on and to challenge you. Yeah, you were a player here, but being a player here and being the head coach are two different things. The honeymoon phase is over. Once you become a head coach, you need to go ahead and produce. If you got the okay from management saying, hey, we're going to give you a mulligan year, you can be able to tear it down, do whatever you want to do, cool. But at the end of the day, he made a lot of mistakes that were well warranted for people to criticize him. Hell, you had people talking about, oh, he's bad for the job. We need to fire him after 1 year. It always happens with black coaches, but that's neither here nor there. People are saying that, he's in over his head about all this other stuff. Why is he not calling the defense? And what did he have to do? He had to go ahead and kind of look inward and see how you can improve. So he had a sit down with Craig Carton, and this is what he said, and I found it to be pretty interesting and pretty profound, and pretty interesting.
I think that happens to every head coach is your first year, you come in and, man, it is like you are going, and you're trying to make sure that you get the right staff. You're trying to make sure you look for players that you want to be a part of your team. And sometimes, man, you just miss. And when I say miss, decisions are not the right decisions. I would say that. And
from a talent standpoint or a personality standpoint?
Well, just from a personality standpoint,
okay.
In general. Listen, everybody in this league is talented, and that's just across the board. I mean, as far as decision as a head coach, I didn't call the defense last year. That was not a good decision by me, and I admit that. Because the reason I got this job is because of defense. So
yeah,
and that's okay. And I think as a head coach, the one thing that you have to be able to do is be able to pivot. And once you realize that there was a decision that you made that wasn't the right decision, man, you have to really pivot. And a lot of guys are not afraid to do that because there's so much backlash that you're going to get from outside this building that, man, you have to keep your head down. You have to make a decision. You have to make it. You have to keep going. Right. So decision making is the first thing. And then when I look.
So real quick before I finish the clip, him saying that he had to take accountability and be able to call plays on defense, right? I am a defensive coach. I need to take charge of the defense, right? Your personnel, all this other stuff. Like it takes a lot to be able to like look in the mirror and make those changes because a lot of people are scared of the backlash or the criticism, right? Where you have to pivot. There's nothing wrong with being able to pivot because if you know that something's not working, instead of being stubborn about it, we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna keep doing this until it works. I know it's gonna work. Nah, sometimes you're gonna have to pivot and see how we can be able to make adjustments. That's growing as a coach. So I like to hear that.
At decision that I made this year, man, I was able to go through the whole shebang when it comes to, man, and looking at every coach and interviewing every coach that really represented me and what I want to do.
Which one was the most glaring to you? You're like, God dang it, that's the one what was I thinking when I decided?
I didn't call the defense.
That's the biggest one to you.
I didn't, because again, this is why I got the job. And listen, I thought I was doing the right thing by being, well, I guess what everybody say, the CEO
right.
of the team.
Right.
But man, I love calling defense. I love being involved in that aspect. And listen, I don't want to say I was disconnected because I was still part of everything that was going on. Mm-hmm. But man, just to be able to call it and just be able to have a defense that you can quickly fix an issue, because I know the defense like the back of my hand. Is nothing feels better than that.
Shouts to Aaron Glenn. I like the fact that the guy took responsibility. Like, is saying that, hey, these are the mistakes I made. I made a lot of mistakes year one. And, paraphrasing, I'm sure he's like, yo, I'm grateful to still be here, to be able to have a chance to be able to fix these mistakes, to correct these errors, to be better with the media, to actually be better with my staff and pick a staff that's actually more designed for my coaching style, my personality, the way we want to play. Like, I feel like I have a better feel of the guys that I have, the team that I've built around me, right? Being able to say, yo, I'm a defensive coach. I have to call the plays. I was brought here because of my defensive prowess. I was brought here because of how I changed around the Detroit Lions in regards to how people think about them defensively. That's what I was brought here to do. And instead of me trying to be a CEO and have my finger on this guy and make sure that everything is running smoothly, yeah, I still got to do that. But I have to take advantage and I have to take the reins defensively to be able to show what I'm about here in regards to a leader, show my players what we're going to do and how I want them to play. And then everybody else is going to follow suit. So that's what you want as a coach. And listen, I criticize the man year one. I criticize a lot. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, yo, if there's anybody that can be able to turn it around, it's him, just because it's a blank slate. This is a guy that didn't fail somewhere else, and now he's trying to reinvent himself. This is his first head coaching opportunity. He's already told you, hey, listen, I got to be better with the media. I got to be better with this. I've made these changes. I've had some self-reflection. That's what you want to hear out of your head coach. Is it going to translate to wins on the field? I don't know. I don't believe that the Jets are going to go from winning 3 games to, going ahead and winning 9 or 10. I don't see that for them, but I do see that they're going to go ahead and make improvements in regards to their preparation, in regards to development for guys. I think guys are going to be able to develop and progress better this season, which means that you're now setting yourself up for the future. The 3 first-round picks that they have, the young players that they have, the cap space that they have. There's a lot of positive things that are in the Jets' favor right now. So if you can be able to have the head coach grow with the team, progress with the team, go ahead and match his potential or meet his potential too, sky's the limit for the fucking Jets. I can't say that they're not going to be good. I can't say that. I can't say that they're not going to be good. So we'll see what happens, man. But this is a good step for me to be able to have a dude that's running the ship that can be able to be accountable like that instead of pointing fingers and, doing the blame things. Oh, well, this is why this happened. Like, no. You took accountability for all the mistakes and all the errors that you made and how you went ahead and tried to fix those things. That's what you want. That is a leader. Instead of making excuses, you took accountability. So shouts to Aaron Glenn for that. So we'll see exactly what happens going forward. Moving on to irrelevant news of the week.
You got to be kidding me. I mean, how do you watch that? I mean, yeah, they stink.
Every week we go ahead and we see what we got on the list. So it says Odyssey surpasses Deadpool and Wolverine to become highest grossing R-rated movie ever. Listen, Deadpool and Wolverine was a great movie. I watched that several times. Have not watched the Odyssey yet, but I've heard very, very good things about it. All the right-wing people are upset about it because it's too old. Shut up. You know what I mean? It's a good movie. If you don't like it, then just don't watch it. Like, there's a lot of people that have like opinions about shit and they've never watched something. They got opinions about people in other states and whatever they're doing in other states, yet you don't live in that state. Shut up. Like, it got nothing to do with you. You know what I mean? Go ahead and go watch some other boring ass movie. You ain't got to watch this. But the fact that this went ahead and overtook Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine, that means that a lot of people were tapped in. Damn, I gotta go ahead and watch that. So let's see what happens with that. Moving on. Disney officially revives Gargoyles with new series. Yo, as a kid, there was nothing better than watching Gargoyles on Channel 11. You had Brooklyn. You had that show was fire. So the fact that they went ahead and revived it, like the graphics right now, the animation, I don't really know if I'm feeling it, but I'm gonna check it out, man, to see how it is. Like just to be able to kind of like get that 90s nostalgia again. People are always trying to look for 90s nostalgia. So if I can be able to, see how good this is, I'm gonna check it out to see exactly if it rocks with the first one. But the fact that they bringing this back, that's definitely dope. That's definitely dope. Moving on. Let's see what we got here. So this is interesting. It says when Mark Walter owned the Lakers, there's a lot of reporting around the room or around the team or the organization that said it was a weird vibe. Said multiple rounds of layoffs, significant increases in ticket sales prices created uncertainty within the Lakers organization. We're going to get into Mark Walter in a second because boy, oh boy. Yeah, moving the Lakers G League team. It's like this dude was over here trying to dismantle things. And it's just like, I'm just happy that, fraud can be able to be like exposed immediately. Cause these rich billionaires, like they just believe that they can be able to do whatever the fuck they want, bro. And most of the time they get away with the shit. You know what I mean? But sometimes it's just like, all right, bro, like you doing a little too much to the point where we can't allow you to get away with this type of nonsense. You know what I mean? So when we get into the whole Mark Walter thing, definitely going to unpack some stuff, but it's insane. So this new study says black women who post feet pics are out earning 87% of men in the United States. So it says, according to recent studies, black women who post feet photos are reportedly earning more than a large share of men in the U.S., and most of them didn't even start for the money. Listen, foot fetishes are on the rise. I don't know if y'all heard about the whole there's a DoorDasher or Uber Eats person, like every time she delivers the food, she has her feet in the actual photo, like when she drops the food off at the door. So there was a photo of her earning for like one trip. I think the trip itself was like $16, and then she got a tip of like $49.99. So that one trip she made over $60, and it's just like, yo, what do you, they did that for the feet, because there's a lot of people that love feet out there. A lot. There's a lot of people that have foot fetishes that look at women's feet and they're like, all right, like, you know, how much you want for a whole set. You know what I mean? So I don't knock nobody hustle. If that's what you do to be able to get your bread, then hey, to each. But just know that there's a lot of freak that comes with that. They're gonna want to have you dipping your foot into into a cake. You know, you're gonna have to do a whole bunch. Like there's a lot of weird people out there. So if you want to go ahead and dive into that world, just know the type of strange shit that you about to get into. You know what I mean? Moving on. Let's see. See if there's another story here that might not be. Nope. That is it for irrelevant news of the week. No other interesting stories out there for right now. Not what I saw anyway. So that is all for irrelevant news.
You got to be kidding me. I mean, how do you watch the? I mean, yeah, they stink.
Moving on to interesting matters about those Dodgers. It's always funny that when you feel that something is wrong, when you feel that there's something going on, but you can't quite put your finger on it, and all of a sudden, there it is. It's so crazy how, like, when Steve Cohen bought the Mets, everybody was like, oh my goodness, the Mets, they're gonna go ahead and go spend more than everybody else now. Oh, we're gonna have to do all these things. We gotta put in all these rules for Steve Cohen. Yeah, Mark Walter was owning the fucking Dodgers all this time. Nobody said a peep. Until he decided to go Thanos, right? Went to go get Shohei, gave Shohei $700 million, deferred most of the goddamn monies to the point where he's not even making no bread on the payroll, right? You went to go get Kyle Tucker. You got Blake Snell. You got so many guys on this team that you don't even need. They have an abundance of riches on this team. And everybody's just like, oh my goodness, the Dodgers, the dominant team. Oh, don't hate on the Dodgers. So you got Dodgers fans out here loving what's going on. Y'all won 2 straight World Series. You know, you're in position to possibly win a third. It's not going to be easy, but you're in position to win another one, right? And you got the people that love the Dodgers, and you got people that absolutely hate the Dodgers because of what they're doing. Because it's just like, oh, they're taking advantage of the system. And for me, I was just like, yo, listen, deferred payments have always been a part of the game. Like, I'm not going to get mad at a team that is using a clause in the collective bargaining agreement that they can be able to go ahead and utilize. Everybody has the ability to be able to defer payments. There's a lot of players that take certain monies and then defer certain monies. That there's nothing wrong with that. But the Dodgers seem to be doing this a lot more, to the point where they got $1 billion+ kicked down the road in the next 10 years or something like that, maybe even less. Like there's a big bill that's due for these deferred payments. But it gets better. Mark Walter, because we all know that he sold the Lakers due to the whole FBI investigation into his insurance businesses and his other businesses, and that there's some fraud going on there. But my biggest thing is that why is it that content creators like myself and other creators out there are the ones that are keeping this story in the news? Where's Jeff Passan? Where's Ken Rosenthal? Where is John Heyman? Where are all of these people that if this was the Mets, if this was the Yankees, they'd be all over it. Jeff Passan would be the first one to be able to have a 3-page, thesis in regards to what type of shit show the Mets are. LOL Mets. Can't seem to get right. Now they got a corrupt owner that's doing all of this stuff. But yet, look how long this particular news has been in the cycle. It's been 3 days, 3.5 days, 4 days, and yet not a peep. So there was some guy that spoke to Jeff Passan and got a little information on it. And would you believe me if I told you that when Mark Walter owned the Lakers, he was trying to get the Lakers and Dodgers out of the TV deal that was signed? It's an $8 billion deal, which is like $330-something million annually. He was trying to get them out of that deal to be able to get upfront cash. I wonder why. He owes $7.6 billion by New Year's. So he owns the Guggenheim firms and bought out some insurance companies, has some shell companies, and he looks like he was having these insurance companies pay for other businesses. Now, the way the bylaws work is that you can be able to take out a portion, small portion of that money to be able to funnel into other businesses. And I think what Mark Walter said that he reported like $2-point-something billion that he actually took out when it was really like $17 billion. So just go ahead and kind of just think back. The Dodgers are just having this influx of money. Now, I understand that Shohei Ohtani in the Japanese market is really, really big, right? And they pretty much already made their money back in regards to that deal, and then some. But it's just always funny how there's just like an infusion of money every year for these Dodgers. While other teams are having to maneuver payroll and see what they're going to be able to do. Even Steve Cohen's just like, I don't know how much we should blow over the actual ghost luxury, ghost salary cap in baseball. But the Dodgers always seem to have fucking money to the point where they can be able to go get Kyle Tucker and sign him to $60+ million a year. So no wonder he was doing this, because he was robbing Peter to pay Paul this whole time, because he's desperate for money, because he understands that the jig is up. He's about to sell his shares from the Chelsea football team. He's about to possibly have to put the Dodgers up for sale. He already sold the Lakers. This dude is in big trouble. Like, I didn't know, I didn't believe that he might have gone to jail. But I'm like at a 65% now that Mark Walters that he's going to jail. It's a crook. He's an absolute crook. And the fact that he frauded all of those companies, and he frauded the Dodgers. And he literally frauded the salary cap, or not even the salary cap, but he frauded the way he was influxing money into the Dodgers. Don't worry about Steve Cohen no more. You need to worry about Mark Walter. So when you want to go ahead and go put in Steve Cohen parameters, make sure you look at Mark Walter now. Mark Walter is who you want, is who y'all thought Steve Cohen was. So please, keep that same energy for that cheater. Keep that same energy for that fraud. Make sure that all your reporters and all your beat writers are on this case to the point where they can be able to expose everything that's going on. Because it's a little too quiet, which means that it seems like people they're in the know already and they don't want to expose the Dodgers. Looks sus. So I hope that there's never going to be a salary cap in baseball. But there needs to be some type of parameters that doesn't allow people like Mark Walter to come into your organization, your league, and do bullshit and do this. He's a crook. And the fact that the Dodgers may end up disassembling this team, that they may have to go ahead and diffuse this stuff, dissolve it. Am I mad? No. Am I sad? No. It's just one of those things where it needed to happen. Because if they can be able to go ahead and cheat this bad to be able to win, and I don't want to hear nothing about the Astros. Don't tell me nothing about the Astros. Don't tell me nothing about how the Astros cheated and how they did this and all. They were stealing signs. Stealing signs have been a part of baseball since the inception of the game. They just did it in a way that was a lot more efficient than everybody else. But what Mark Walter's doing, that's cheating. That's illegal. That's fraud. And that needs to be torn down, disassembled, and dissolved. So for everybody that got smoked for other organizations or other situations, make sure you have the same energy for these fucking Dodgers. Moving on. The Mets. Wanted to talk about the Mets briefly. Andy Green has been doing a great job with the Mets. And I believe that since Andy Green has taken over, I think the Mets are either at 500 or they're a little over 500 since he's been managing the team. And you can just see a difference in regards to he's a great communicator, just poise, at the top step, speaks to players. He coaches them up, like especially when they're going back to the dugout, the young guys, he's putting them aside, taking them aside, having conversation with them. He has bred confidence in this team. They look loose. They look like they're having fun. Should he take the job full time? I don't know. Is he thinking about it? I would hope so. I would hope that I know that he wants to go back to doing what he does in regards to developing the farm system and helping the young guys graduate and get to the bigs, right? That's super important. But man, this guy looks like he's such a great communicator that you might have to think about this further. But let's go ahead and just say that he's just doing his job for the organization to help out, and he goes back. My biggest issue is this. I've been extremely critical of David Stearns all year. I think he's done a poor job in regards to communication, building out a staff. They've kind of steadied the boat a bit now. But could you imagine if David Stearns wouldn't, instead of being stubborn, he would have fired Mendoza earlier and inserted and installed Andy Green earlier, the Mets are in the wild card chase right now. It's easy. The Mets are in a wild card chase right now. You allowed a manager to lose 12 games in a row after coming off a historic collapse the season prior. This is the bullshit and the concerns that I have about a David Stearns, is that you're too stubborn to be able to realize that certain guys just ain't got it. I knew from when Mendy got here, he didn't have it as a manager. Nice guy. I'm sure the players respect him, but there's a difference between respect wanting to be led by that player or that coach, or having respect where I just like you as a person, but I don't want you leading me out of a parking lot. His in-game decisions were poor. His press conferences were poor. His motivation was poor. The way he got guys prepared was poor. The errors, everything just kind of snowballed under him, and he had no idea how to stop it because he couldn't motivate anybody. Could you imagine if the Mets would have went ahead and fired him sooner? Met fans are not miserable right now. Met fans are not looking at Pete Alonso approaching 30 home runs with over an 850 OPS and doing what he normally does. They're not on Pete watch. They're focused on making the wild card and seeing how the young guys are producing, like Carson Bench and AJ Ewing. How Francisco Lindor is coming around. How Bo Bichette is starting to hit now. There's so many things that we would be focused on as Met fans, but instead we have to focus on what if. All because we have a president that holds on to players or managers way after their expiration date. Mark Vientos should have never been here this long. Brett Beatty is a good bench hand, so that's fine. I got no problem with him. But there's certain things. Mendy should have been fired early in this season to save this season. And that is going to be the narrative of the New York Mets for 2026. What could have been if your president acted sooner? He did great at the deadline. Got a lot of prospects back. All of those prospects look like they're going to pan out. They're playing well. He does that well. He can be able to get those guys. I don't have a problem with him in regards to prospects. I have a problem with him in regards to how he manages personalities, how he picks a staff, and how he makes decisions in regards to when to pull the plug on a coach that has lost the locker room in regards to motivation. So I'm hoping that Andy Green is the guy, but at this point, does it really matter? Because a season could have been saved. And every time I look at Andy Green, I'm happy to see that the Mets are actually playing well. But at the same time, it pisses me off. Because again, I'm looking at a team, how they're playing, how they're responding, and I'm saying to myself, what if? Staying with the Mets, I am loving me some Kodai Senga. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, Kodai Senga being the closer, give me him over Devin Williams right now. I don't want to see Devin Williams again closing any games unless Senga says, I don't want to be the closer next season. Then you go ahead and you can pivot to the guy that you're paying $17 million to. But if Senga says, you know what? I know I want to be a starter. I've always dreamt about being a starter, but man, I had so much fun in that closer role that I think I want to do it. Bye-bye, Devin. Bye-bye, Devin. See ya. The fuck out of here. I wouldn't even trust him to be a setup man. I don't want you to be eighth inning, seventh. No. Just find a way to get him out of here. Senga is fun. Like, even Devin Williams is like his entrance. It ain't cooler than Senga. Like, you saw that they got the Beat It song. You got the mascots playing the guitar. You have him with the Beat It jacket on, with the Ghost Fork logo on the back of they had the new entrance on the Titantron. It was fire. Senga's dope. I want the Ghostbusters, though. If they could be able to figure out how to do the Ghostbusters, oh, man, I'm sold. But Michael Jackson Beat It with the Ghost Fork on the jacket. Make sure that you got the mascots. They got to have the jackets on. I hope that they do that. Put the jackets on with the Ghost Fork on it. They're going to make it look dope. But, like, you can just tell that the guy is having fun again. That's the most important thing. You didn't see Senga smile the whole year. When he got his tits lit up, right? He just looked like a deer in headlights. Just looked like a guy that just couldn't figure it out. But now, smiling, that confidence is there. And I keep telling people all the time, bro, being an athlete, yes, you have to have the talent. Yes, you have to have the fundamentals and the basics and all of these other things. You got to have the discipline. But if there's no confidence there, if you don't believe in yourself or you don't believe in your ability to be able to deliver and help your team, you're useless. And for a long time, dating back to last year, Senga just lost the confidence in himself to the point where he went down to the minors and he was getting lit up. Couldn't connect on the Ghost Fork, didn't have the touch. They were lighting up his 98-mile-per-hour fastball. Why? Because it was straight and had no movement. This is a guy that has found his confidence again to the point where he looks like he's unhittable. Now, he did give up a run the last game against the Padres, but what I liked about that game is that instead of him breaking down and panicking and going back to old Senga, he doubled down, poised himself, got himself together, and got a key double play and ended the game. So 4 saves, 4 opportunities. He gave up 1 run. And he's K'd like 8 guys. Like, this is a dude that looks like he has the stuff to be able to close. And if that's the case, give to him. That's it. Just let him do it. I don't care about no damn Devin Williams. He didn't work with the Yankees. He didn't work with us. Send him to Arizona for whatever. Say, hey, listen, we'll pay the remaining $30 million out of whatever it is, and that's it. That's all I'm saying. Like, for us, when you see something, 9 times out of 10, it is what that is. Like, you can see potential. You can see something happening. I can see Senga being able to do this. We have stories of guys that did this. John Smoltz went from being a starter to being a closer. You had Mariano Rivera. That was a terrible starting pitcher. And then they figured out, he's like, yo, you got 2 pitches. Maybe let's try this reliever thing. Let's try this closing thing. And the rest is history. We all know that. I'm not comparing Senga to Mariano. I'm not comparing him to Smoltz. I'm just saying that sometimes when a guy fails at being a starting pitcher, that doesn't mean that he has to flush out of the league. You can be able to throw him in the bullpen, and you can be able to extend guys' career that way. Senga's a guy that's in his 30s. Like, this is a guy that has 1 more year unless he gets hurt and he has a injury clause in his contract. But next season, if there's a season, it's going to be his last year with this team. And if he can be able to put together either going back to the starting rotation and being good, or staying in the bullpen and being that shutdown closer for the Mets, there's no reason why the Mets wouldn't retain him at a reasonable contract, because he's making a little bit like less than $2 million less than Devin Williams. If you get rid of Devin Williams, you can be able to put Senga in that role, either give him the same contract or give him a little extra, whatever it is. You now have a guy that can be able to either close for you, or maybe in a pinch, he might be able to start for you. Or be in the bullpen, long relief, like high leverage situations. There's a lot of different options that you have with a Senga. But I'm just loving the fact that the guy looks like he's having fun again. So as a Met fan, I can't ask for nothing more. You know what I'm saying? What we got? What do we got? Do we have any dummies of the week? No dummies this week. That's all for the show. Shouts to Silent Assassin on vacation. Shouts to Claw. Shouts to Jimmy the super intern. I'm all by myself this week. You know what I mean? But I know the team is here in spirit. Shouts to my lovely Jasmine. So, like, share, and subscribe. Give a follow. Don't cost you nothing. But until next week, stay safe. Stay cool. Peace.
Every win, every loss, every second got a cost to be the boss. Late nights, pressure heavy, never fold. Championship mindset, heart made of purple and gold.